was a way to show respect to the audience and respect your own business. It was a way to protect it.
I am Mr. Richie Moon, and I'm Kayfabe Avenue, and I'm Kayfabe Focus.
It's Kayfabe Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks, I'm Kayfabe AJ.
I mean, A.
And this is Kayfabe Avenue. And today we're just trying to bring you a little discussion, a little AEW talk, a little WWE talk, the state of our situation in wrestling, what's going on. E.A said he got a couple bars for me. So
yes, sir.
We're here to discuss everything going on. So EA, like, where do you want to start this conversation at?
Let's start with the one that we were going to talk about last week. But let's start it exactly where we was last week. The WWE creative versus AEW's creative. I don't know, because last time we was here when we had the little the band episode, I remember specifically we were almost getting into that conversation.
Yeah,
because we was talking about how Drew McIntyre was Paul Heyman's project. They just lost Paul Heyman as head writer for Raw and things of that nature. And it's like now they dumbed down Drew McIntyre after he was so hot from the Rumble and all the way to WrestleMania a little bit.
Did they dumb down Drew? I feel like he's the same Drew going into WrestleMania. Like, the only reason I would say maybe not dumbed him down, but as maybe lose steam as far as rivalries go. I think the problem with McIntyre's run outside of the fans not being there, I think, is he hasn't had that proper like rival to go against. Like,
I think
Bobby Lashley was looking like he could have been that rival, and then they had that month, and then they put what's his name, Dolph
Ziggler right behind
out of left field. Like, you get a trade up to Raw, and you instantly put him against Drew. I feel like they dropped the ball as far as that. Like, they could have continued the Bobby Lashley storyline the way it ended. You know, it ended with Lashley going his separate ways from Lana, and since then he's joined up with MVP. They're starting a new group that we're I guess calling the Hurt Business for now, which is rumored to be Nation of Domination rehash or something along those lines, like
something in that capacity.
Black group of wrestlers coming together as a big super stable. So that's forming, but I don't think is any fault of Drew himself. Like we said, this topic right now is creative, and I feel like if anything, creative has probably failed Drew McIntyre, and he's actually probably done the best he could with this whole situation.
I just feel like they really didn't have a long-term plan for Drew after WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like obviously the Paul Heyman, that was his creation. Him, Brock Lesnar, and Drew all went to Vince and they pitched the idea, and Vince loved it. You know what I mean? Like, that was actually Paul Heyman's project that he was working on. And then now that they removed him from Drew, working with Drew McIntyre and making him bigger or whatever the case may be, it feels like he just like they just didn't have a plan for him. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're gonna put you with Bobby Lashley for a month.
We gotta think about though. We got to think about the fact that with COVID happening, it took the momentum completely out of his Mania.
True.
Fans, a lot of stars either don't want to show up because of the COVID situation, or their visas are having issues. They're having international flight issues.
Right.
There's a lot of factors in why his run is probably not the best it could be. We can't really just all chop it up to like they didn't have something lined up. I feel like if anything, they've had some mad scramble these couple months.
Right.
And I think the faith in their stars, or the lack of their faith in their stars, is really showing during this situation. Because let's flip it to AEW, and they've been thriving in this COVID-19 situation.
The match has been good. It's exciting. It makes you want to see more.
it's not even up for debate. There's gonna be people who hate AEW just because it's not WWE, or always feel like it's not on the level because it's not WWE. But
Right.
with bias aside, AEW hands down is the best wrestling show out right now, and they've probably gained that during COVID-19. They've been building steam. They've been building steam this entire year. But let's be honest, WWE's last major event was the Royal Rumble, top of January. Since then, nothing has stopped AEW. Like even their first empty arena show was still great. We had the debut of Matt Hardy. We had the debut of the Exalted One in Luke Harper, the leader of the Dark Order. So we had big shows from Dynamite almost nonstop since COVID has happened and they shut down the arenas and stuff.
I mean, let me play a quick devil's advocate for WWE. Like, is it because this is one thing I can see about AEW. You know what I mean? We addressed it in the last episode. Even Richie said it. Like, they leave you wanting more. They will like we said, like they will have something happen or somebody will interfere, and then all of a sudden we will have the match next week because they will. You know what I mean? Yeah. Is it because BTE as well? Like, because a lot of the stories also happen from that show, and in certain aspects it carries over. A lot of it do be a lot of comedy, but they still also helping the newer stars like Private Party. We haven't seen them the last time we seen a match by one of them was when he when Quinn wrestled Cody for the belt. You know what I mean? We haven't seen them on TV or Dark, but they still in the spotlight being funny with the little deadass segment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it
that's been like one of my biggest critiques of AEW is the fact that they need to blend BTE and blend all these side things that they do and make sure it's important to Dynamite. A lot of I feel like they just expect the fans to follow just because, and I don't think they consider the casual fans as much as they should. But I mean, let's be honest, AEW started off a fan base that was all internet, all word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
So, I understand their thinking, but
But do you think that will help WWE if they created something like that, like engaging? Like I see Mia Yim is trying that. She has a YouTube channel. I actually watch some of her postings, and it's pretty good. She goes through bad tweets.
But
you know what I mean? She did a skit with Dakota Kai that was funny.
This is the thing, though. WWE's already had a crop of superstars that's tried that. That's tried to make YouTube shows and actually were successful. Zack Ryder being the biggest one.
Exactly, absolutely.
And they took it and they killed it. And they don't let the stars build themselves. The stars go into business for themselves on Twitter all the time. But they don't, unless they feel like, oh, okay, this got a real reaction, then WWE will mention it. But 90% of the time, half the stuff these people say online doesn't affect WWE storyline, doesn't affect how they view the stars or try to push the stars in a certain direction.
Exactly.
WWE got the ball on that for a long time, and they're a factory at this point. They're churning out the same bullshit.
They should create. That's what I'm saying. Like they should at least create something like a little skit show that BTE is doing, like just for a fucking hour. So what? Something, even if it's not even like you can be a heel if you playing a funny character. Like look at Brody Lee. Like that whole character is a bad guy. Obviously, came in, he was a beast. Blah blah blah. He's been on being the elite, and he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So we could hate him as a heel, but we still want to watch him on this sideshow because of he's entertaining on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they could do that with stars or something. Like, do you think that will help them or something? Like, that's what I'm saying with creative.
I mean, anytime stars get a little more extra time for exposure, of course, it's gonna help. It's gonna get the fans to have like a feel of them. But again, this is all on WWE.
They should have not cut Talking Smack. Talking Smack was dope, yo.
They have like 4 or 5 different shows on every week. NXT, NXT UK, Raw, SmackDown, and they have the
main event in 205, which is on
main event 5 and 205, right? which
On the
nobody
network.
really watches or cares about. They have too much actual in-ring product
Content, yeah.
that I think that extra show will get lost. Like what they need to do is start cutting back on so many long matches and learn how to do what AEW is doing. Like AEW knows how to balance promo segments, interviews, matches, all in 2 hours. But Raw, which has 3 hours, at most points struggles to even keep your attention.
Right.
But you can run through a 2 hour AEW and don't feel like the 2 hours even passed.
Yeah, like the
And
shit be flying. I want to see more. I want more. I want another
exactly.
match. I
And
want
then they give
another
you
segment
dark,
or
which
something.
is actually, the build up matches after the show or before the show of that dynamite. So AEW is smart in that regard. They know what they're doing. They're utilizing social media in a way that they don't necessarily need another network show, but it
The
helps push
rosters,
their product.
but also the roster's getting bigger. Like every week on Dark, there's somebody new I never heard of, and the guy is
Yeah,
amazing.
and that's gonna lead to my next kind of thought that I wanted to talk about.
Go ahead, let's go
Is
right
it
into it,
is
brother.
it time for AEW to pull the trigger on that second show that they were talking about? And is it
Right.
time for WWE and AEW to really go to war with AEW going against the flagship show, Monday Night Raw? Like me personally, I think it's time. COVID-19 got WWE on the fence. They're
Yeah, for
struggling.
real.
They are struggling to keep fans. Their ratings have been the lowest in history.
They
AEW
losing a
last
lot of
week,
money too with stock shareholders and things of that nature as
AEW last
well.
week blew them out in every single demographic combined for WWE shows. Like they destroyed them last week.
And they didn't even reach 1 million views. If they start reaching 1 million views consistently,
No, there was a
oh,
point. There was a point in AEW Dynamite last week during Jericho's segment. They did hit. I think during Jericho's segment, the Young Bucks.
the
Because
Young Bucks
man,
match,
I can't wait to see what Jim Cornette is going to say about this.
yeah,
But during the
yeah.
Young Bucks match, they hit 1 million views.
Jesus. Like, but when if it comes consistent through the whole show like that, and let's say because they've been losing, like every day we see on Twitter or on Facebook group, every week they do the ratings and then they got the little count of 19 and 46 or whatever. I don't know. Like they've been losing since they both went head to head since it started. Like NXT, even though I love NXT, it's still the best show they have every week. They not beating AEW. They will have like one
Problem,
week
the
that they'll
problem with
beat them, or
NXT,
2 weeks, and then they will drop back down.
the problem with NXT is and the reason why it at this point it would never compete. They might have a week that they did better in a certain
Yeah, like they
demographic
will have like a good
or
2 weeks, and
better
then they
on
will drop
ratings,
back down, or
but
whatever the case. And then
at this rate, they will never be the better entertainment show because NXT's problem is that they focus too much on their best quality, the actual wrestling. They don't give enough time for segments, for character development. Like NXT does most of their character development through matches. So
but
like
that's how it's supposed to be, though, right?
if this was the movies, the way they build up their stories, like Zack Snyder, in like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, you see the story build up through the fighting and through all that. In AEW, they give the backstage, they give the vignettes, they give the promo segments. They when they feel like it's important enough to the story, they do reflect back on BTE. So you have that. It always feels like a variety show. You're gonna get that hard hitting match. You're gonna get that athletic match. You're gonna get the
Yeah.
comedy. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna get pissed off. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna get excited. AEW has everything. I feel like NXT has one gear, and that's go hard on the wrestling.
The
But
only thing that I'm disagree with you with that is that I do see that at times with NXT where they would give you like a good segment or backstage or something, but
they
I
do it, but they don't do it on a
it's
consistent
not
basis.
exactly that was exactly what I was going. They're not as consistent and they have a lot of stars they not really using it. They would just randomly put like we haven't seen Mercedes Martinez in forever, and then she just
Yeah,
randomly
he
came
just
up,
showed
and
up.
now
Yeah,
like you could have built that into something. Like y'all could have done anything.
Yeah.
I just feel like they really like a lot of the product be rushed. They always say that Dave Meltzer and Ryan Satin and Brian Outlet, they always say, oh, Vince would walk in at 3 o'clock on show day and scratch the
Yeah,
whole show and
he'll
write it
he'll
himself. Like,
he'll scrap the show at 6 o'clock,
yeah,
7
like
o'clock,
what
an
are you
hour, 2 hours
thinking? Like,
before showtime.
if you have a
Vince,
game plan, like if I'm a basketball player and I'm like, all right, this is the best thing for us to do to beat LeBron today. You know what I mean? Like we just stick to this fucking game plan. We literally like an hour before the game starts, and then the coach comes up to the team like, "Yo, nah, we're gonna scratch that. We're just gonna do pick and rolls and the triangle. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? We've been prepared all day for this particular goal and this particular way to win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why. Let's get into that, man. Like, what's up with Vince, yo? Like, come on,
wait, but
Vince.
before we dive fully into that, do you think it's time for AEW to go head to head with Raw, to go head to head with
um,
WWE?
they getting there. Their roster's getting bigger. They have a lot of dope talent. There's a lot of every week on Dark. There's somebody I've never seen before, and the guy is incredible. You know what I'm saying? I can't say enough. I can't say enough good words for these new guys. Like, and
That's
they
because
created.
I think that's one of the best one of the best things that AEW does is they're tapped into the indie scene. They don't
Mhm.
act like the indies is a foreign world that doesn't exist. You feel me?
Yeah,
They
like
accept
like
the
they like
indies.
they
They
blind the
accept the other
WWE to
promotions.
what. Yeah, like they blind WWE to what's going into all these kids out there. All they see is uh, Killer Cross's contract is up. Let's grab him. He was
The
the
only person
champion.
who's
Like
on
they don't see the shit
the
like
only person who's on tap in WWE at this point who has any influence on recruitment is Triple H. To be honest, he's the
yeah.
only person that's on tap. Look at all his signings. They either hot indie stars the next people up. Almost all of his signings have become champions, have become the top of the show, or are right now holding down every single brand. His
I
sign
agree.
his signees are holding down every single brand right now. That's a fact.
I mean, I agree, but at the same time, I feel like they just signing them so that they don't have to go to AEW or New Japan or somewhere else. At the same time, they would just throw a big ass checkbook.
I mean, but that's true. But we also got to look at before AEW existed. He was still signing people like Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre again. You know, he came
Okay.
back to NXT first.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, like the list goes on. So before AEW even existed. So
Right. Right.
Triple H has that eye for indie talent, but I feel like he's the only one. And then Vince,
Yeah.
these indie guys, sees that they're either too small or
Yeah. He got a
finds,
critique on everybody.
finds
Like,
his issue because he's like the biggest description I always come across when people critique Vince is that the WWE is his world, is his playset. You know, he got
yeah,
the ring with the action figures, and he decides, you know, you're gonna
I'm
be
gonna do
whatever
this
I
move.
decide you're gonna
Yeah.
be. You
Yeah.
know, so
And that's not fair.
sometimes
Like,
that's a
so
bad habit. I think Vince at this point has become his own worst enemy, and I feel like if AEW did come to a point where they were like, you know what, let's go full throttle. Let's really make this a war. Let's show make a show on Monday. I think Vince is gonna be his own worst enemy because one, you're already behind in the times. AEW's rounding on the second year already. You need to step up. AEW's
I
already gained enough traction. They got so many things lined up. The second show with TNT, the cable show within their first year, they already got renewed. They have a video game in development. They got action figures coming out. They're
yeah.
ramping up.
I
The
think they
only
should
thing
go
that they
against
need,
SmackDown, not Raw. I think they should. Not to cut you off, but I think they should go to SmackDown first on Fridays because Monday is a lot of competition, and not just even with WWE, just in sports. Period.
oh
We
yeah,
finally got
basketball,
basketball
football.
back. We got baseball back. Football's on preseason supposed to start in a couple of weeks. You know, and things of that nature. So we finally getting sports back. They should just go on Friday. Yeah,
Yeah, but
and it's both a 2 hour show.
SmackDown's already a flopping fish on land. If you really think about it, Fox is rumored to already be losing interest and being upset with the declining ratings. They're literally throwing shit at the wall at this point and hoping something sticks. And that's why I'm saying Vince is his own worst enemy. His refusal to step down or put people in positions to creatively control his company is becoming a problem. You're out of touch. You refuse to see, like, the Paul Heyman thing. We were talking about Paul Heyman earlier.
Right.
He got rid of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has given us the best progress as far as the show, character development, new stars being showcased.
Yeah.
He's given us the best of that. You
He
took him out of
literally
that role,
turned Drew
put Bruce Pritchard
McIntyre.
back, which I'm sorry, Bruce
Yeah.
Pritchard is just a yes man. He's gonna just okay with whatever Vince says.
And that's what I'm saying. He literally turned Drew McIntyre from being a lackey for 4 years when he came back and he got caught up 2 years or something.
Mark Henry is on Monday Night Raw right now.
Yeah, I just saw that. But he literally just turned Drew McIntyre from being Shane. He was running with Shane for a long time. Then he started running with Dolph Ziggler. They over here, then he was over there, and literally just polished him up. And boom, we have the champion. You know what I mean? That was a great showing he did at the Rumble this year, and things like that. And it's like, why? Why would you do that?
The Rumble was Drew's crowning moment. That was his mania.
Like, that was crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but why would you get rid of a talent like that? That just would take one. Like, he always had an eye for talent. I always said that. When he was at ECW running it, he would make just a regular person come in. We wouldn't know who he was and turn him into a champion. Even like Chris Jericho.
If Paul Heyman had the financial backing of a Turner, or if he had Vince McMahon money,
he would start his own promotion.
I don't think WWF would exist, and I don't think WCW would have existed. I think ECW would have been what WWE is today. Except it probably would have kept their mature content.
Let me ask you a question. If a major network went up to Paul Heyman like, yo, we're going to give you startup money to start your own promotion, and you could pick only 10 people from both rosters. This is hypothetical, but from both rosters, you don't think he would take that deal and just start all over again?
I think at this point, no, because he's pretty much had his plate full with what he does behind the scenes of WWE, and then it will be to start from scratch to try to build something that obviously people are going to compare to WWE. In this climate that you have AEW already doing that, I don't see Paul Heyman thinking about wasting his time. I think if anything, he'll align himself with a company. If he doesn't want to work for WWE anymore, I think he'll align himself with a company that will have all those assets, the money, the financial backing,
right?
And I think he'll help them get to the next level more so than start his own thing at this.
And that would be he would be a perfect pickup. He could go to TNA. He could go to NWA.
WWE's been stupid. They made a lot of stupid decisions, but they're not that stupid to completely lose Paul Heyman.
Yeah, Vince
is not dumb. He's gonna always do what he can do to keep Paul in the pocket and make sure that Paul's available to him, because he's always respected Paul's creativity, always respected Paul's vision for the most part. And if you look at the list of guys that Paul Heyman is vouched for, them guys all become champions for the most part.
And or bigger than they was when they first, you know what I mean?
The only people that I've seen align with Heyman on screen that didn't really get nowhere was Curtis Axel. That's really it. Because even Cesaro, multiple time tag team champion, singles belts, never hit the world heavyweight title scene, but he got a lot of accolades for himself. So
he had that dope story a couple years ago with Sheamus, and then they became a team, and then they became a formidable team. Like, they were dope together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised behind the scenes that was probably Paul Heyman too, because it's been a long time since we've seen something like that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like
I also think Vince also knows that this isn't the time to burn any bridges or to lose any more producers, any more agents backstage. Because if you look over at AEW, you got all the old legends going over there.
Yeah.
You got all the old managers you had going over there. You got all the old talent that you let go or didn't push right.
Going over there and succeeding. And they're succeeding.
And they're becoming 2 times the star they were, or their characters 10 times better than it was.
Hell yeah, like Swagger was, but like I guess, like, I didn't like Swagger. especially when he was with what's that dude's name? Jeb.
I never liked Swagger at all.
But when he came over
A
here,
little
like
bit with the We the People thing, I liked him a little bit, but as
look at what
Hager,
they.
as himself in AEW, he's been the best he's ever been.
He's like all this. He's like the bodyguard for the team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
look how quick they changed my mind on this person, and I always thought he was boring.
It took 2 weeks to completely change Swagger to Jake Hager.
And now he's doing his best work ever.
Jericho shits on that We the People. Bad idea from Whack Creative. By the next week, nobody's chanting We the People. Like, it's that simple. Like, Jericho and AEW know how to push these people. They know how to take the potential and turn that shit up. Look what Jericho's done for Sammy G. Look what he's done for LAX. You know, Hager.
LAX is exception though, because they always been dope to me. You know what I mean? Like in TNA and everything, and like I always liked LAX, but I was still like, look at their character. Their character is fucking hilarious now. They never had this much personality in TNA when they were running with Conan and Diamante.
Oh, sure. Now they got their own segments on BTE.
Like 2 weeks ago, where Orange Cassidy dropped
gives you the chance. Here's the tools to make something happen, and you know, build a character for yourself. Look what Matt Hardy's doing. What Matt Hardy wanted to do, WWE Creative didn't allow him to do it, and he pitched it to them. Let me bring my broken character. Let me do this multiple personality thing. Let me bring the universe into it. And look,
the only time they did that was when they gave him that
AEW letting him run with Money Net, version 1, broken, high voltage Matt, and then regular Matt is about to be a character. They're letting him run with 5 personalities.
And it's crazy, like look how turned around that came. Like his debut on AEW was dope. Like you just saw Vanguard 1 flying over, and then the Young Bucks. Yeah, we caught some help too. And then it made sense with the BTE that week, because I remember when that shit came out that Tuesday. Yo, the fucking internet exploded. Oh my God, they pulled up to Matt Hardy's crib and shit. You know, no, I think it was Matt Hardy's channel. You know what I mean?
Matt Hardy.
Yeah,
it was
and that shit was everywhere when the Young Bucks pulled up to his crib. That shit was like, it was literally trending for like 3 hours straight when he dropped that.
So right now, with the creative the way it is on both shows, what do you think? What stories would be good for like the current wrestlers or any wrestlers they could bring back that could make the show bigger or make the stars bigger? Because Vince is also rumored to be trying to emphasize on new stars, because he's realizing the Roman Reigns and people like that, they're not coming back during this COVID shit.
Yeah, no time soon.
So what storylines do you think, or what superstars should be spotlighted to kind of like?
I want to see Apollo Crews join. I want to see Apollo Crews join MVP, turn heel. Big E turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see on the AEW side, I would like to see either Cody or Kenny or Hangman turn heel, or something in that nature, or even Hangman joins the
clean. Kenny's slowly becoming the cleaner. He's gonna turn heel. I have full faith in that.
And I wouldn't be mad if Hangman joins the Dark Order or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, just make it different. Cody will probably turn on Anderson or whoever the case, or something like that. Like there's multiple ways you could go at certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Rey Mysterio, I guess Rey Mysterio's coming back to WWE. I guess he resigned. They're beating up his son right now. So
yeah, like turn his son against Rey, because I heard that honestly, he's been practicing. That would be a dope.
WWE needs to start having faith in their stars. I feel like the easy way to get some pop, let Rey do his idea. Let him bring in the LWO. Mm-hmm. You got Garza. You got a whole bunch of these Hispanic stars in WWE right now. Shit, you could bring up the NXT stable of luchadors that unmatched. That's what they call them.
Nah, put the the Lucha House Party with Ray. All four of them.
You could put them. You could put them. There's so many things you could do. At this point, you need star power, right?
Right.
What better than now to pull the trigger on John Cena, turning heel?
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be the biggest news in WWE history. Not only that, Cena's out the door. He don't even have a contract as far as we know right now.
Right.
They let his contract lapse. So at this
don't
point,
forget,
bring
like
Cena back in, flip the switch on him because he faced the Fiend last he was around.
I was just about to bring that up. Like that
The
whole
Fiend
match
could
was
change his character, and then Cena could bring up people into his stable that could be the next generation. He can do what Triple H did for Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could be the Ric Flair of the group.
Like I saw, like that was a perfect thing that you said, where he faced the Fiend. Remember that match was so weird and crazy at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But the whole point of that match was like the philosophy on it was that the Fiend was showing John Cena all the times he could have turned heel and he never pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Remember he came out like NWO. They were like, yo, he could have been NWO.
Mm-hmm.
He could have did this. He could have did that. Like that was like
he could have had enough impact to be the Hollywood Hogan turn.
Yeah.
That's what they were comparing it to. And
like
right now,
yeah, like
why not? Right now, why not? You got no reason. Cena's not around. And regardless if he's good or bad, Cena's gonna always sell merch because he's a legend already.
Exactly.
So now's the best time for that.
Ain't he filming a film right now though? Like, don't they got like Fast and Furious or something he's gonna be in?
Fast and Furious
like
actually was already finished. They pushed it back because of COVID. They want to capitalize on as many people as possible. But that movie's done.
So I know he's filming something. I forgot, but he probably is busy. I don't know.
He's Rock when Rock just started popping to Hollywood, and you know, Rock opened the door for that. So he's doing his thing now. That's what I'm saying. You don't even need Cena back full time. You could have him every couple weeks come back and do something, and it'd be majority boosting someone else. But if
he could do some Dark Order shit,
pretty much.
Like Brody Lee, he could be like some Brody Lee.
He could be the Brody Lee in the Evil stable, or the Hulk Hogan and NWO like stable. You know, there's so many things. As far as AEW goes, I feel like they just need to keep doing what they're doing. They're already doing the right things. They got the history with the stars that they brought in from the past. They got the talent for the future. You know, as far as heel turns and stuff like that, the moment Kenny turns heel is going to be big. The moment Hangman figures out what he's going to do with the Elite or do his own thing, that's going to be big. You know, they got a lot of spinning plates at AEW that's working.
Yeah, they got to be a girl to join the new you know what I mean, Jericho and them. I want to see that coming soon.
I want to see if Elise personally join the Inner Circle, or even Diamante, like we spoke about in our last.
Yeah, Diamante would make more sense because she was already under LAX as the little sister when they were in TNA. But I wouldn't mind if both of them join or something. You know what I mean? Like they need some women over there.
So if Vince McMahon ever did step down, who do you think should take over the show? And for the sake of not repeating ourselves, let's exclude Triple H.
Let's exclude him? Because he will be the obvious choice.
He's the obvious choice.
Because he got the best mind to actually run the company. But I wouldn't be mad if all right, it might sound crazy, but I wouldn't be mad if it's Shane or Stephanie. Like all right, one thing I gotta give Stephanie, yeah, she plays a bitch on TV, but she out there charity work almost every week. Every week I see her taking pictures in the hospital with kids, bringing doing something out there in the field.
Like
maybe that's
the brand officer.
Yeah, but she's really out in the field doing her thing with charity work. You know what I'm saying? She created the Be a Star program herself. That was her idea. Either Shane or because I don't want Bruce to come on. If they give it to Bruce, give it to Heyman. Give it to Heyman. Yeah. If it's not Triple H, give it to Heyman.
This is what I think. I think they should have Shane McMahon and then just a rotating like an open creative forum for like multiple writers and producers. So it's never like you have the final say and that's it. That needs to stop in WWE. It needs to be more collaboration. It needs to be, I like that idea. Let's expand on that. Okay, let's change that. Like, let's add your idea to my idea and make it this big thing. That's what AEW is doing better. Everything is collaborative effort. Not one of those stars are doing things without feeling comfortable with their characters, without it being true to who they are. And that's the biggest issue with WWE. Like I said earlier, it's a factory.
That's a great answer. I didn't even think of that.
They're churning shit out. So it has to start with the collaboration. They need to stop saying, because Vince doesn't like this, everybody's ideas suck. When in reality, half of their ideas are really fucking good, and Vince is trying to promote because he has this 1980s creative mindset, this 1990s creative mindset. We're not in the Jerry Springer era. It doesn't work. We're not in the South Park era. The Attitude era,
to your fans,
as much as we loved it, the Attitude era does not work in 2020. We cannot have bitches out here shaking their ass, and we can't have pimps on our show or nothing like that.
Yeah, pillow fights and jello matches. Like, they don't have these women out there is going out there and killing now. They not like before.
Half of the controversial shit, the porn star gimmicks, and you know, the things that used to make people pop in the Attitude era, it does not work in 2020. What they need to do is just be collaborative, be more real with the wrestlers. The wrestlers need to have input on their characters, period.
Yeah, I agree fully.
Maybe not, oh, I deserve to be the WWE champion because people go into work for themselves, but they should at least have a say in the direction of their character. A lot of these people are happy churning bullshit because they get in the check, and the other ones are gonna go against what they feel because they don't want to lose their job. And then the only people in WWE that's ever been successful and broke glass ceilings and grabbed brass rings and made impact were the ones that went against what Vince was saying, or
Vince literally picked them himself. Or Vince picked them himself.
Yeah.
Because we all wanted CM Punk to win at that time. But he was John Cena every other day. We all wanted Daniel Bryan to win, but it was always Triple H or somebody else or Roman in the way. So it was always that was always the analogy. Like, we would go for somebody that we know will be dope, but Vince will have his hand picked on deck already. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's not fair to your younger talent that's actually dope, that could actually do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, AJ Styles was already established. He didn't, you know what I mean? Of course, that would be a perfect goal to have an Undertaker match under your belt, but you pushing him to the moon, but he was already the man before he even got there. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta wait for a Shayna Baszler.
As far as AJ goes, you know, that was more of a Taker handpicked him and always.
But even so, like AJ, when he first debuted, he was already up there in the moon. The first person he wrestled when he got to WWE was Roman Reigns at the Rumble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he lasted for like a good 20. You pushing stars that's already, like Karrion Kross. He was already established as Killer Kross.
Mm-hmm.
You're not helping a new signee.
WWE does not respect the indies. They don't know that people knew who Killer Kross was, who Karrion Kross was.
Yeah.
So that really doesn't matter to WWE. Karrion Kross has nothing to do with Killer Kross as far as Vince is concerned.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not fair to all the work they put in. You know what I'm saying? 15, 20 years, and then all of a sudden I gotta come here, and then that shit is gone.
That's the asshole businessman part of Vince. That's the my money comes first part of Vince, where Karrion Kross, if he would have came in as Killer Kross, he probably would have had to sign his name away, and Vince McMahon would have owned the rights to Killer Kross's name. So if Killer Kross ended up fucking up in WWE or ended up leaving them, he can't even be Killer Kross anymore.
He can't be Killer Kross anymore. Yeah, so, like that's the problem that Cody has right now, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, look at that. They just trademarked Cody Rhodes again, and Cody hasn't been with you guys for 3-4 years already.
And when he was gone that first couple of years, y'all didn't give a fuck. He was doing his own thing. making his own name. Like he started buzzing, and then finally the promotion started, and now all of a sudden y'all give a fuck about Rhodes?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, that's that hypocritical shit about Vince, man. I know they're just doing that as a way to spite Cody. You know, I'm gonna trademark your name and hold that shit against you. It's to spite Cody, man.
And it's like, yo, so nobody could. So after they leave your company, there's a lot of distraught wrestlers from your company that's leaving. A lot of people are sick of this shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I'm not too mad that a few people got released on that Black Wednesday. Or
I'm not either. Look what they did for Impact. Impact wouldn't even be a thought in people's minds right now if it wasn't for all those guys re-debuting or debuting for the first time on Impact.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that left.
They would have. Nobody would have been talking about
like
Impact.
Rusev
Impact would have never been trending if it wasn't for that.
Rusev was my dude. Him, I will never forget. Randy Orton. All it took was an RKO when Aiden English was singing the Rusev Day, and that was the first time we ever heard that Rusev Day. And then it took one RKO, and he was still a heel, but that shit took off. And I did not even
There's
give them the tag.
That Rusev might pop up on Dynamite as close as this week.
But this is what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, you did not pull the trigger on Rusev when he was hot. Yo, they literally did a Rusev Day t-shirt, and that shit sold out in like 2 days. That shit was the hottest selling t-shirt. Yeah. Why you did not pull the trigger? You don't have to put him in a championship program, but they could at least won the title or something, the tag titles or something.
Not only that, WWE is like a spiteful ex-girlfriend, you know? Oh, I didn't make you pop? Then I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure.
To bring you back down.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked up. That's fucked up. Like Rusev was hot, and it was a random thing that happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it got hot. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're supposed to pull the trigger. If you saw the sales from his t-shirt going up, and he became number one for like 2 weeks straight, that's when you're supposed to pull the trigger. All right, maybe we won't throw you in the major title, but we'll throw you in the tag team with Aiden or something like that.
I don't know what was going on with WWE and Rusev, but at that time they were doing anything they could to not let him blow up off of it.
Like, and that's the sad shit
about it. Rusev Day was already done.
Like, they had to fucking, like, they didn't have no choice to do that with CM Punk. They didn't have no choice to do that with Daniel Bryan. Yeah. I guess they was holding against, like, we never wanted Daniel Bryan as fucking champion. And then they gave him 2 because he beat Batista and Randy. They probably didn't want to do that shit no more.
They didn't want to do that.
Of course not.
I doubt heavily that was planned ahead of time for months. Daniel Bryan was a story of the fans came to his help them get there.
Just like CM Punk, the fans, we got behind CM Punk, and now we got behind Rusev, but y'all for some reason y'all didn't want to do it again. You know, like, nah, we did it twice. We gave the fans what the fuck they want. We still gonna make him be what we want him to be, which is kind of foul.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So I mean, that's WWE. Hopefully they start changing their shit up. I like to kind of wrap this thing up. I feel like it is the perfect time for AEW to
pull the trigger on a major against them at that.
Even their sites, they always throw pot shots. Right now they got the Demo God gimmick with Chris Jericho, and that's a whole pot shot at WWE for losing in the 18 to 40 something demographic, which is the most important number when it comes to advertisers and money. So that became a whole thing. Go full in. You guys refuse to stop joking about WWE, which is a critique that I've had. I've always wanted AEW to focus on AEW. But they're focusing on AEW, doing all the right things, and still throwing their pot shots. So let's go to war. That's how I feel. Let's go to war. It's time to take Raw down. Or if not, it's time to take SmackDown.
I would say SmackDown. It's 2 hours. because Raw will still probably get fans back after Dynamite's over because they 3 hours, unless they're gonna do 3 hours for Dynamite.
Knowing Vince's tactics, he would throw his best shit on the first 2 hours to try to steal viewers from Dynamite. That'll probably backfire because he doesn't have the investment. The people don't care enough for what's going on his show right now. So he'll end up losing that battle. That's why I think it's time to go to war.
All right.
So with that being said, we could do this all day.
Yes, sir.
Where can they find you?
Yo, E.A on Twitter. I'm also in the Facebook group, Kayfabe Ads. Hit us up. Send us if you want a discussion or something, we want something to talk about. Give us some insight, man. Leave a comment under the YouTube channel, all of that. We take account on all of that, and then we'll come up in here and talk about it.
Yes, sir. Yep. So you can find me at Kayfabe_AJ on Instagram. Follow our main group page on IG, which is Kayfabe Avenue, run by Mr. Richie Moon. Follow the Chaotic Dreams podcast. Follow Mr. Richie Moon's podcast. Like EA said, follow our Facebook group at Kayfabe Avenue. While you're at it, join our YouTube group. Subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. We get most of the visuals to our podcast on YouTube. But if that's not your thing and you like the audio format, follow us on all streaming platforms. We on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you can find your podcast. This has been Kayfabe AJ. That has been E.A. This has been Kayfabe Avenue. And like I said, it's time to go to war. So you know what? Kenny, take us home.
Goodbye. And good night. Bang!